a lot of the lessons learned, I learned from Lila. And that maternity leave really shaped and formed the Simple Ops framework. And it impacted my view on growing and scaling. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on Behind the Scenes. And today we're going to be talking about something that's a little bit different than just business strategy, business planning. We're going to be talking about a topic that I don't think is talked enough about. And it's going to be a little bit of more of a personal episode today, but we are going to talk about preparing for maternity leave as an entrepreneur. So this is my second go around, and I want to share some things I learned from my first, what I'm doing differently this time, how I'm planning, and how kind of this ties back into everything we talk about here at Elf Operations, because a lot of the lessons learned, I learned from Lila. And that maternity leave really shaped and formed the Simple Ops framework, and it impacted my view on growing and scaling a business. So, as you guys may or may not know, I've had people not know, we are expecting baby number 3, little Addie, in September. So we have baby Addie coming in September. I just got over not just got over, Lila's going to be almost 2. And we were not really planning for Addie. It just kind of happened. So there's a lot that we are doing differently to prepare for this maternity leave. And it's very different planning for maternity leave as an entrepreneur than it is in corporate. You're not guaranteed any time off. You don't get income. I know there's some people that is also the case, that in corporate, they don't get income. I've talked about this on some other people's podcasts, about preparing for maternity leave and how it was different from Charlotte versus Lila. And now this one's going to be different because when I worked in corporate, I was still pretty new. Since I was so young, I didn't get a lot of paid time. So I think I had maybe 4 weeks. I think if I'm remembering correctly, that was paid. And the rest of the time I wasn't paid. And that actually led to a lot of problems because I relied so heavily on Charlotte's dad at the time. And that put a lot of leverage on me from him. He would apply this as leverage, that he was supporting me. He was, doing this, doing that, and that led to a lot of the abuse. So it's very different. Every situation is different. And with corporate, you have a little bit of more of a cushion. Now, why am I telling you this? It's because there's nuances to this. And so this topic is not addressed of the nuances and planning for maternity leave. And I know women have questions about, what to expect when they're about to give birth. And, it's different for everybody because of insurance and financial planning and all of that. I'm just sharing my piece to help give tips and some lessons learned from what I learned. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes. And honestly, I will say that yes, that situation sucked with Charlotte, but I was extremely lucky, very extremely lucky with all my children, that we were not put under an additional financial burden by their birth. So the first time with Charlotte, I was still a student when I gave birth, and I wasn't working. I mean, I was working, but I wasn't working at the same time. I was still a student, and I was on government assistance with Charlotte. So the state covered a ton for her. I wasn't fully working at the time. And since I was a single mom, they covered a lot of that. And she was under medical insurance through the state of PA. That helped a ton. After she was born, I did start having to pay a premium for her insurance, which was actually quite expensive out of pocket. I was paying roughly $200 and some a month for her plan alone. And that is because I was on my mom's plan at the time. So insurance is you get to stay on until you're 26. At the time I was 22. So of course I'm going to stay on and take advantage of not having to pay for insurance. And so I just paid out of pocket for her. And with Lila and Addie, I'm extremely lucky because with Lila, me and Zach were married by that time. We gave birth to, well, we were on each other's insurance by the time. I was on his insurance by the time. We had Lila, great insurance. He worked for the union. He had fantastic medical coverage. They covered pretty much everything from birth, and for Lila, there was very little we had to pay out of pocket. Yes, our premium was more expensive, but we budget and plan for the premium. So we did not have very many unexpected costs for Lila, and the same will apply for Addie. So it's very different. And I wanted to address that because that's going to take into effect your plan for maternity leave, especially for an entrepreneurship. That is a hot topic in entrepreneurship. Small business owners struggle with finding coverage that is good for them. That's not going to be totally insane cost when it comes to entrepreneurship. So we are extremely lucky. We have been able to have coverage now that Zach and I are both self-employed. We still get coverage through his union. Granted, we are paying now out of pocket. I believe it's roughly $1,400 a month that we pay for our family, but that does not change. That's our family rate. So we have that budgeted in. That's also like a write-off for us that we run through his business. I don't write that part off because he pays it. He writes it off. There's other things that I pay and write off, like utilities and certain aspects that we can write off. So if you are struggling with that, there are alternatives like group sharing plans. There is the private market. There are brokers who can help you with that, but making sure you have adequate insurance. And if you are not making that much on paper, I definitely suggest going to and reaching out to your government, your local city government, for support. There's nothing wrong with applying for their assisted medical coverage. It is great insurance, especially in the state of PA. And if you are self-employed and you're having a hard time or you're not profiting, like on paper or at all, that would be something I would recommend to check out for yourself because it does help. And it's going to obviously make this experience less stressful for you. So making sure you have that coverage and having that health insurance is so important. So I wanted to cover it first. We are extremely lucky in our instance that we do not have to worry about it. The one unexpected expense is an expense that I'm taking on because I want to, and that is because our insurance does not cover a breast pump. I know that's very weird, but I'm taking on the expense of buying an electric breast pump so that I can work hands-free and take care of the girls because I do want to breastfeed or at least pump and provide breast milk for Addie because of the whole situation of the formula shortage with Lila. We did not experience too much of that, but I do want to be able to pump more and be able to give her breast milk instead of formula and be able to have it so that Zach can do it, whomever can help. But I want it to be one of the hands-free. I'm looking into getting the Willow, I believe. So that's part of the other preparation is getting our playroom office set up ready so that the girls will have a space to play and be while I can still keep an eye on them because right now our setup is not conducive. If I wasn't on my laptop, I would show you like I'm working at the kitchen table and the kids play in the living room or they play in here and I just kind of bounce back and forth. And that was one of the hardest things that we had to learn and deal with transitioning with Lila. Because Lila was home full time with me. Charlotte went to school 3 days a week. And so having a space that was conducive and worked for us was definitely a transition because at first Lila was fine. She would come down to the office with me. I could work in my office. I could get things done. She would nap or she would stay swaddled on me. But now that she's getting to the point of walking and playing independent play, it has been a lot harder. And with Charlotte being home for the summer, it is a lot harder. So we made the decision to transform our basement into a space that's going to work better for us. So I'm really excited to have that office space that's not totally closed off. We're going to have a baby gate that goes in between, and we're adding a whole additional bathroom down there. So everything that the girls and I would need for the day will be down there so I can work, still have eyes on them. We're going to put a TV down there. We're going to have a whole new setup for them. And then we have snacks right outside because our additional pantry storage, food storage, kitchen supplies, appliances, because our kitchen's kind of small, is going to go down at the bottom of the stairs with our additional deep freezer and our fridge. I know you're like, why are you telling me all this? Because this is what we're doing, right?
Mom, our kitchen is big.
Well, not as big as I would like.
And most kitchens.
True, it is bigger than most kitchens, but I would like a bigger kitchen. And we don't have a lot of storage because I can't fit my KitchenAid on the counter.
What's KitchenAid?
My mixer.
What's a mixer?
My red mixer. No, it doesn't fit because so our house, when they redid the flip, they did not make adequate counter space, like between the cabinets and the counters. So I can't even fit some of my appliances underneath the cabinets on our counter, which is fine because we don't have a lot of counter space for them. So I store them in the basement, hence why we need that. But I'm just saying these are the steps that we're taking. And I think having a conducive workspace for business owners and who are also taking care of their kids full time is really helpful. And this is something I don't see. And thank you. And this is a bigger cost that we're taking on to prepare, but I think it's going to make me more productive in the long run when Addie's here and when I have Addie and Lila home with me. We would ideally like to bring in a nanny, but that's going to be more of a fall project so that I can work uninterrupted for 2 to 3 days a week in the office. They could be upstairs, or I'm considering doing a co-working space for 10 hours a week, because that's what I did look into potentially next year or in the next 2 years, getting an office at a co-working space, because they have a few in the area that are going to be really nice. And they have that you can rent out offices and have spaces, and there's perks for having those. Like we could have networking events, we could have he could have events for his company, like team building or training exercises, because we could reserve that space. And then I have a place to have an office away from home if I needed it for a couple hours a week, because also I'm going stir crazy. If you're a mom, you understand. So I'm preparing to help not go back down that spirally rabbit hole, because with Lila, I definitely went down a mental health rabbit hole of not feeling good about anything, not feeling good about my business. So in order to prevent that, I know that I need to get out of the house. So I'm addressing and owning up to that I need to be away from them for a little bit. I love being the predominant caregiver of the girls, but I definitely know that I need to get out of the house, and there's nothing wrong with that. And not a lot of people talk about that, making sure that you can have some time outside of the house, even if, like, my coach gave me the advice, at least 2 hours if I can, which I am working on, trying to do that, because when you go right from working at home, there's no separation between work and home sometimes for me. And then that makes it harder to set up boundaries and not letting me work I work too much. That's the problem. So all of that to say, with Addie, my goal is to not go down that same rabbit hole. And I did learn a lot with Lila with coming back from maternity leave. So this is kind of like the reflection piece of, I just had some bad client experiences. I had put too much on my own plate last maternity leave. I white labeled, and my friend supported me through her agency, and they just supported my clients, and I just budgeted for that. And it was very different, because before I went on maternity leave with Lila, I had my biggest month or my biggest quarter ever by myself, but I was doing it in a way that was totally not sustainable. And since my business was so young, I didn't have a good infrastructure or financial nest egg to hire out or understand to hire out. I really limited myself. I know that, like, lessons learned. I definitely limited and stunted the growth of ELF operations last year through just postpartum and just being depressed and not thinking I'm a good leader, not believing in myself. I sabotaged and tried to restructure all the all the offers, and it just was not good for me or the business. I really thought about leaving entrepreneurship. I thought about closing my business down. But the white labeling definitely helped get me through it to make sure that there was some type of support and I didn't have to like pause all my clients, because at that time I was only offering really OBM services and the done for you support. So this time I have my newer offers that I have taken and created and really feel solid and I'm really excited about, which if you follow me, you know, I have the Back Pocket Ops membership, which is all about done with you support. So it's not the done for you support as much, but it's at a lower price tag so that startup business owners can get that operational and systems support that they need without having an OBM in their business, so that they can still do it themselves, but they're not guessing, it's not taking as long, they're not going it through it with overwhelm, and they can really set up those foundational structures as they are growing. And that is something I can do while easily being on the couch with the girls, or when I just need to, I can squeeze in an hour of work, answer all the questions that they have, be able to Slack them back and forth and answer their emails. So creating offers that were more sustainable and weren't only done for you was the first part of my preparation. So making sure that my offer stack supported the life that I wanted to have when I had all three girls at home. So Back Pocket Ops membership, get your shit simple VIP day. I love this offer. It's such a fun offer, and doing it with teams has been so amazing to just like do the tech stack audit, do a systems audit, and provide them with recommendations and feedback, and helping their team learn the tech and the systems that would work best for them, and helping them and their team get out of the day-to-day for a few hours so that we can look big picture and see those goals. And then of course, I'm not getting rid of the done for you services. So we still have our OBM services, and we're actually going to be growing out the done for you services once I come back from maternity leave. Right now, it's still the same OBM package and or ClickUp builds and consulting, but the vision that I have for the team that came after Lila is being able to hire and mentor women, single moms and domestic violence survivors within my business, so that ELF operations can really be something bigger than just my business. It's a business that's going to shield and protect and grow these women who are trying to rebuild their life after domestic violence, or if they are a single mom. So sometimes they don't want to run and own their own business. They just need the flexibility of remote work. So we want to mentor them, help them get their lives back on track, but also provide them that flexibility of remote work. If you read my Business on Purpose chapter, a lot of that is discussed in that book, because domestic violence survivors actually tend to lose their job. I forget the statistic off the top of my head. It's in the book. It's like 50% of the time after a domestic violence incident, the sole caregiver of the child ends up losing their job related to court issues or time taken off. So being able to provide these women with remote work and offering companies with the done for you services of OBMs, administrative support. We are looking to get into marketing. So that's something we're looking forward to after maternity leave, because I just don't have the time frame to hire as many people. But we are getting the infrastructure in place now. So I'm hiring an ops assistant to help me with the client work. So instead of white labeling, I am bringing a lot of that in-house and managing the team, because I have worked on the mindset piece. I've worked on the limiting belief piece in the past year. And so the two lower ticket offers are offers that I can scale and grow by myself, but I do need some help implementing that and doing some of the admin work for that. So the ops assistant will help with that and help with doing the work for our retainer clients who want the OBM services and need help managing their team. And then as we grow, there will be new services offered at the end of the year for additional done for you services from the team as we build and grow our skill set in the women inside our business. But having someone who can help me with the client work, so I'm not the only person, I'm not the bottleneck. I identified that as the biggest issue for me right now. So having them get on board and trained and up to speed is so crucial for me. in the next couple of months so that I can still be there to support my ops person, but I'm not going to be in a client facing role for at least 6 weeks where we will just be pausing some of our calls. I will be pausing some of the calls, but they will still be getting supported and they will still be able to reach me via Slack or via email, where I can answer any high level questions, but predominantly it will be my ops assistant who's going to be helping me fulfill a lot of the execution piece. We are not going to be taking VIP days in September or October, so we will be booking out in December or November and December, after August happens. And then the membership will be an ongoing enrollment. So I did plan for that to be like an evergreen auto pop, like anyone can join at any time. I didn't want to I didn't want to launch it. It's just evergreen. People can join, you can enroll, and a lot of that is automated and making sure that we have a sales page, FAQ, and then also hiring on an engagement strategist to help with lead gen, podcast pitching, and speaking opportunities, because speaking, networking, and collaborations are my biggest source of lead gen, and they have the highest rate of conversion for me. So making sure I'm just focusing on those marketing / lead gen strategies and then getting support in that, because I don't want everything to go silent when I'm on maternity leave. So I brought someone in now so that we can kind of get the flow and get the feel for each other. And so they have been working on helping me with sourcing leads, following up with leads, DMing, all of those things. And that alleviates my time to create content for Back Pocket Ops. It allows me to create content like this, and it's allowing me to go forward, be able to hire more people and take on more clients. So hiring on has been the biggest change for me in building out internally, because my systems are always pretty good. I mean, I won't say they are always pretty good, but those are a top priority for me, and I can implement system changes and improvements, but there are things in my business, as is every business, that you cannot just automate. You're going to need those manual touches. So I'm building out a very lean but amazing team right now, and then the team will grow as we start to bring on more of the done for you packages after I get back from maternity leave, so that we can fulfill the vision that I have for the company and be a business that is going to help those women grow and mentor. So taking care of our clients now, and also putting in a lot of work now to record content and record things ahead of time for the team that I know they're going to need. So making sure I'm recording 2 YouTube videos a week, making sure I'm recording reels ahead of time and batch content recording, so that they have stuff to pull from, and creating a plan and tweaking my SOPs. Those are some things that are really, really important as we come down to this crunch time. Making sure all the automations and the workflows work, so that if someone opts in for Back Pocket Ops, they have what they need. Things are going to be triggered. There's no bottlenecks. So really identifying those and making sure my support and my systems are in place, and also having a strategy. So I'm doing the same things for my maternity leave that I help my clients do when they're growing and scaling their business. They may not be getting on maternity leave, but we make sure we have a strategy. We make sure we have systems. We make sure we have support. And then we execute the plan and grow the team, and the CEO is not the bottleneck. So I know I feel like I'm rambling. So those are all the things that I've learned from doing this twice. These are things that I'm preparing for, and mistakes I'm hoping not to make again in my business. But just being really honest and sharing with you guys about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and what I've learned from the past, because it really wasn't easy with Lila, and I've learned a lot of nuances that I don't think are talked about enough. So making like the conducive working space, making sure I'm getting out of the house. There's no shame in saying that you need time away from your kids. So those are some takeaways that I would walk away from today, as if you are preparing for maternity leave or an extended leave in general from your business. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get additional content regarding behind the scenes in your business and tips on how to grow and manage your remote team and scale your online business. Okay, my name's Emma. I'm so thankful for you joining today, and my DMs are always open in a safe space if you need them. So have a great day.